Today I'm going to talk about 7 music production myths that are holding you back. I've gotten caught up in many of these myself, so I wanted to speak on them. Before we get started, you may be like, who is this guy? Why should I listen to him? Well, my name is Zach, I go by ZBeatz, and I've been a full-time music producer for 5 years now. I've produced songs for artists like Black Bear, Mozzie, BLP Kosher, Milo J, and a bunch of others. Cool, we got that out of the way, let's get started. Number 1, you need a professional recording studio and high-quality equipment to make great music. This is definitely not true. I know so many producers that use really inexpensive gear like USB mics and things that you would consider cheap, and they're getting so many placements and are so successful. And this just goes to show that it's not about the gear, but it's about what you do with it. And a great example of this is one of my favorite songs I produced called Numb by Black Bear and Lil Spirit. And I produced it with this like $100 classical Epiphone guitar and then a voice memo on my phone. And it had such a vibe, brought it into Logic, messed with it, and it had that kind of like retro tape recorder kind of vibe, and it was perfect for the song, and that's what we ended up using. So whatever equipment you have now, just start using it. Don't wait to get more expensive gear in order to be successful, because whatever you have now is enough. Number 2, you can't produce good music without a music degree. This is also not true. Honestly, I know so many people that are really successful and never went to school for music. I personally didn't go to school for music. I went to school for business, and because of that, I feel like it made me want it so much more. There's nothing wrong with getting a degree in music, but I just feel like for myself, it made me go harder because nothing was gonna be handed to me. I had to break into the industry. I had to make it by myself. I didn't have any formal training. I don't know, it was kind of more fun that way too. Number 3, once you get a big placement, you're gonna be rich and you're gonna be set. Unless you're getting a placement that's charting in like the top 10 or top 20 on Billboard, it's really hard to see consistent income from medium-sized releases. And it really just depends on the percentage you're getting, but sometimes you hear about people that didn't get master, didn't get any publishing, didn't get an advance, they're just getting credit for it. And in those cases, you're not making any money on the placement. And that's why a lot of producers sell their beats on BeatStars, they sell their loop packs, and do other things besides just placements. Number 4, using samples and loops is cheating. This is not true. The biggest producers in the world are using samples and loops, and they're collaborating with loop makers, and it's just a common thing in the industry. Because at the end of the day, listeners don't care whether you use samples or not. As long as it sounds good, that's all that really matters. And just because you use loops doesn't mean you're being uncreative. A lot of people will send me loops and I transpose them, I'll reverse them. By doing this, it makes it into something new. Number 5, collaborating means that you're not a real producer. You should be able to do everything yourself. Not true. I used to think this, but once I started collaborating with people, I saw the power of working together and working with different people and being inspired by what they do. Because when you're doing things by yourself, you end up kind of falling into the same habits. Like, I have this certain lead part that I always do, or there's certain chord progressions I always do. And by working with other people, it allows you to be inspired. Like, they lay something down and then you're like, oh damn, that makes me think of this. Everyone has a specialty, and there's nothing wrong with working with other people who specialize in a different thing. Number 6, you have to be in a music hub like LA or New York in order to be successful. Definitely not true. I know so many people who aren't in the US, aren't in a music hub, and they're killing it. And especially in the world post-COVID, you can send things back and forth so easily. I personally live in LA, and the majority of the people I work with aren't here. I rarely work with people in person, so I could be anywhere in the world and continue to do this work and be successful. And I think that's so sick. So just be where you're happiest and you're most productive, and forget what everyone else says. All right, last one, number 7. This one's kind of my favorite because it's something that's really been annoying me recently. If you spam producers and put them on your email list, you'll be successful. This is not true, and it's really, really annoying. In the past couple years, people just started putting other producers that they've never talked to on their email list and just start spamming loops like every day in some cases. I think it's cool to reach out to people you don't know, but make a real connection with them. Don't just add them to your email list, because that's how you get blocked. Instead, reach out and make a real connection. You could say like, hey, producer XYZ, I love your latest beat. Those drums were fire. I love those 808s you use. If you're down, I'd love to send you some guitar loops I've been cooking up. And this way you let them decide whether they want to receive your loops or not, instead of just spamming them and giving them things they didn't ask for. And then you'll have a list of producers that actually know you and are actually looking forward to getting your loops. And that's it. I hope you liked this video and learned something new. Make sure to like and subscribe, and hit me in the comments if there's any music production myths that I missed, or if you have any questions. Peace.